please welcome the always smooth as Silkinson, Jonny Wilkinson.
All right, Jonny! How are you, pal?
Wow, that's an intro.
It is an intro.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, mate, I'm loving everything you're doing. JonnyWilkinson.com. I went on to JonnyWilkinson.com last night, Jonny, and I'm looking at all the stuff that's available. These 6 lesson courses that you got going, you and Sparky and the team.
Right.
And I'm looking at what's available. This is great. Then I go to FAQs because I'm thinking of all these questions that I could ask you. So I go to the FAQs on your website. First one, how does it work? Second one, this. Third one, that. I think question number 9, what does this cost? So clicked on that. It doesn't cost anything. Wow, mate. I mean, just speak to all that if you don't mind.
I think, well, my brother and I, we have a foundation that works primarily with teachers and coaches with an aim of trying to offer something to the next generation coming through, but also through that understanding, realizing that in order to do that, you can only offer through how you are. It's not what you do or what you say, it's how you are. So we work with teachers, coaches to explore how awesome we can all be, how we can take care of our own energies on the inside and offer that sense of anything is possible to those coming through. And it's something, like I said, it's a foundation. So we do what we can, understanding that we only have a certain amount of time, but we go for it. So when we do, we go all in, and we love creating this amazing community, and it gathers power as we get more numbers in.
And they do say, don't they, if you really truly want to know if you know something or know if you understand something, learn it as best you can, then begin to teach it. And as you teach, you realise what you still don't know because you ask questions about it. You think, oh, my knowledge doesn't go deep enough. So you have clearly... You've experienced this journey of teaching now, and you have these 6 lessons. What have you learnt that you didn't know? And also, how did you decide the sort of 6 pillars of this particular format?
So I guess to answer that sort of very clearly, we share, we don't teach. In other words, I've come to a realization very quickly that I'm always learning and I'm always teaching. It's a two-way street. Everyone in this world is a teacher. We're all teaching something. Just got to find out what it is. So it's a massive opportunity to share. It's something that my brother and I keep saying at the end of each time we do this. We're like, geez, we should be thanking you guys, to everyone we're working with, because we just end up coming away having expanded. So it's a real sharing and a real community in that sense. But the 6 pillars come through 3 sort of main blocks, or 3 main sections. One of them is awareness. There's nothing you can do until you become aware. The next one is the space of acceptance. There's no way you can change from one energy state to another unless you relax back to the ground zero. And the third one is about responsibility, finding or allowing for passion, tuning into that inner voice, being able to follow what it is that you love the most, your highest excitement. So the whole thing sort of revolves around relationship with challenge, relationship with the unknown, and ultimately that means a relationship with who you really are.
And stillness is at the heart of all this, isn't it? I've realised that over the last couple of years. The stiller you are, the less it takes, the smaller the pebble it takes to cause the ripples in your particular pond, which is great because it's like an early warning system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you see them coming in from miles and miles away, and you can't always, head them off at the pass, but you can recognise them, you can become aware of them, you can accept them, then you can investigate them, and then perhaps you can nurture them or meet them with love or whatever it is, and that's all super helpful. When did any of this begin to dawn on you?
When did it dawn? Probably my later 20s. When did it start? From day one, I think. I've always had this conflict between this passion and this massive fear in my life for whatever reason, and it kept rearing its head in crises moments that would always go sort of confusion, panic, anxiety, followed by depression, and then there'd be this sort of release, but I never consciously took part in it, so I kept just going round and round with it. And I think at late 20s I was having more professional help, and someone just steered me towards the Buddha, and I didn't become Buddhism. Lots of people like to say that, but I didn't. It was more the fact that there was someone there who proactively was taking on these things, and it just touched on that part of me at the time that was still playing rugby and wanting to take on the world and conquer. And it sort of made me realize there's a bigger thing to go after. The issue is going after it gets in your way.
Yeah, of course.
But the initial part spoke to the part of me that said, I want this, instead of it being, you know, oh, it's a sort of side mission for those that can't handle it. It's like, this isn't weakness. This is the real deal. Yeah, this is way bigger than passing a ball around and getting it through the post. This is about self-discovery. This is about why I'm here. This is about finding out what I am really capable and who I am. And I was like, I want to see what this is about. And from that moment on, I realized that this is at the base of performance. People think it's separate to. It's at the base of performance, at the base of relationships, base of health and well-being. It's connection. It's bringing everything together. And since then, I haven't really been able to look back. I feel like I've seen a little bit behind the curtain, and I sort of can't say, I can't grab hold of the illusion again.
No. That's the thing, isn't it? You can't unsee it. So what do you do with it? Well, you can pretend you didn't see it, but that's going to come back and bite you where the sun don't shine. And you talk now, I mean, the ego's still there. You talk about coaching, kicking for England, and there's some passers-by, and you might have a kick, and you'll miss it because you think, oh, God, I'll nail this. And then because you think you'll nail this, then you'll pull it or push it, and then everybody goes home, and then you stroke it through the dukes, and it's so mad, isn't it? It's so annoyingly, but that's where we are, I suppose.
I think that the ego thing for me is it's got a lot to say, and I enjoy it. You know, I'm out there playing tennis, shooting basketballs. I'm out there, and I can there's still something I'm after, and it often is my vehicle for revealing something. So when I go and follow that passion, I love the expression that the path of highest excitement and passion is always the path of highest challenge and wisdom. So when you go after your excitement and passion, you're going to be challenged more. And through that challenge is when you open up. And so I go out there and I get frustrated, and I end up being triggered, but I haven't got a choice, because if I sit still, you leave me alone, I'll just start doing it again. I'll find a ball, I'll go out and do this, or I'll start trying to help the next kicker or whatever it is. But funny moment when you miss a ball and that old part of you comes up to be like, I've got to prove something. I need everyone to feel a certain way about me. But that awareness now allows me to not react to it. You know, I missed that kick, the one you're talking about, in front of all these people who I imagined were sort of going, oh, I wonder if he can still do it. It's like, oh, he clearly can't. And I remember thinking, all I wanted to do was grab another ball and prove something. And instead I stood there in front of them and just breathed and sort of went, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. You go tell people whatever you want to tell them. I'm living for me, not for you.
And you talk about, you know, whether it's mentally or physically, you talk about the fact that when you're not aligned with the ball, or whatever the ball is the metaphor for in your life, you just won't connect with it. You can you can touch it, but it's not the same as what's coming out of you flowing into it, and vice versa. You know, and in those sublime moments that you've experienced, and some other art, because you are an artist in your own right, just on the sports field, they're moments of absolute universal flow. Once you begin to hold that too tightly, you stop the energy getting there, and you now can spot this a mile off. How do you teach that in rugby players, business leaders, community leaders, youth workers? How do you teach them to recognise that impasse and to just hold things a little more lightly?
There's a really obvious way of doing it, as you mentioned, with kickers or with balls. And a lot of what I would do would take people into an environment where you do perform ball skills. It's an amazingly quick feedback mechanism for seeing where you are on the inside. I heard you talking before about what you create on the inside and what you have on the outside. And sport is brilliant for that. You shoot a basketball, and where it goes, how it feels, is automatically telling you where you are, so you can keep firing back and forth. In business and those things, it can take ages to get any feedback on what decisions you're making and what's happening. But relationships are another good one for a quick feedback. For me, you get someone to stand there and really grip a ball. In other words, try and control it. You really try and grip it. And then you say, well, tell me about the ball. As you said, when you're holding it tightly, I can't feel it. Yeah. I can't tell you how much it weighs. I can't tell you what it's like to have it move and around. I know nothing about it. And it's the same as me when I've been in relationships and even with supporters when I was playing or whatever it was. You're trying to control everything, and you never feel or connect. And in that feeling connection is the gift. In that opening allows your gift to pour through, and this amazing intelligence and this team spirit idea to come out. And that's been the big shift for me, is that I've been controlling and now I'm open to exploring, and that openness, if you like, for me has kind of allowed me to receive instead of constantly feel like I'm giving and I'm giving and I'm making things happen. It's like I look at everything in my life now as I'm receiving and it allows me to be surprised. I experience magic in my life because thoughts come through and I don't immediately go to the idea that I'm thinking this. I'm receiving something. And if I don't like what I'm receiving, I think, well, this energy state that I'm in is bringing me this. I don't want this energy state. How can I work on that energy rather than how can I deal with the thought? And this is the big issue I've had. Whenever I've had all these thoughts, what if this happens? What if this? I've tried to answer them and I've just solidified that energy state. You know, like feeding the stray cat. It comes back. It wants more. Instead of being able to say, well, hold on, let me work on my energy directly. And that's where this work, as you talk about with the business and with the sports people, is you stop working so much on the thoughts and sort of the ideas that come through, and you start working on the deeper stuff, which then brings you the magic.
And that thing you talked about on your podcast, by the way, Jonny has an amazing podcast called I Am, JonnyWilkinson.com for all we're talking about now, at Jonny Wilkinson Official on Instagram. You can only truly give from full. And you've got to refill yourself, and not transactionally because you need to give tomorrow, so you need to fill yourself today. You've just got to keep filling yourself, and the compound interest, the flywheel, whatever you want to call it, builds up, winds ever tighter, and then you are called upon, and then you find you have what's required to give with ease. And one word will do instead of, or even just one's presence will do, one's reassurance will do, an arm on the shoulder, your energy going into a room will do, other than manic panic action over to all the stuff I do every day. But you feel that? And you feel a stillness in there as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that hugely. It's a little bit, this concept of sustainable performance is you tap into a different energy source of constantly receiving, and my giving is simply, I vote. This thought comes through and it's like, I'll vote for that one. And this thing comes through and it's like, actually that one, thank you, but that's not for me. In other words, does it feel good? Does it not feel good? And then in that vote, you focus your energy and attention on what you want instead of what you get or what you feel you have to. And that effortlessness is the secret behind all genius on the sporting field. It always looks effortless. The path of least wasted energy is always the path of the genius in sport. And you watch the movement, and that's what, going back to what we said about the foundation, the first thing is awareness. The genius has awareness. The pass comes to the football player. It's not quite right, but they accept the pass. They don't resist it. And in accepting it, they find this new reception of an idea, a vision, which they vote for. And you watch a genius turn something into nothing. And you kind of go, it's beauty at work. And when people are able to move from that contracted space to open, to become a converter of dark to light, to someone that takes that takes the effort and turns it into effortlessness, that takes vulnerability and you're going through a challenge, but it's such a secret to sustaining this world we want. It's having people here who can take the dark and bring light, rather than a lot of us, I think, are having that light as kids, me especially, and you go, I'm going to do amazing things with this, and you turn it into darkness a little bit, not evil darkness, but you're there holding the trophy going, what have I done with this? All you want to do is go back to that freedom. But
because it's day and night, isn't it? And if you have too much day, you have to have longer nights. And in the Hawaiian culture, back to your chat with Jonathan Hammond, he says that the day in Hawaiian culture, the day begins when the darkness falls. It's the other way around, because that's where the stillness is. That's where the refueling is, and that's where all the training is. And then when called upon the pitch to slot one in, top bins, then you are available. Like Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker famously only trained for Tottenham on a Friday afternoon. Why? Because he didn't need to do all the other stuff. And all that might happen is that he'd get tired, he might get injured, and he would lose his perspective on where he needed to be. And it was so annoying for everybody else, but it worked.
But that's the thing. I think I had this with my playing days, was people loved this concept of the dedication, hours and hours of training, But there was a point where that was no longer what worked. And I didn't perhaps have the courage or the awareness. I didn't have the awareness to begin with, or the courage to accept that and start to respond in a different way. And as it was, you burn yourself out, and you actually hold back that next version of you, as Jonathan Hammond said, that next iteration, which is trying to say, look, I know what you want and I can do this better, but you've got to evolve. But you're like, no, I want to remain who I was. I want to survive instead of I want to, thrive and explore.
Yeah, move on. Guys got to make a living. You're doing all this stuff for free. You've got to sell a few drinks now and again. You've got this, have you seen this drinks company, Vassos?
Yeah.
Your drinks. I was on the laptop last night. I was like, these are the most amazing drinks in the world. And I thought, I'm going to go on the radio and say this tomorrow and think, yeah, because Jonny Wilkinson's there, you're saying it. No, they are literally the best drinks. So you got coffee, you got kombucha, but you've done all the research and they're really good for you and everything's as recyclable as it can be. So tell us about you. I am ordering all the drinks. I know you just said you don't need to. I'll send you some free. No. There's discounts on at the moment because I've checked out the website. So what's going on there? How did you get into that? Again, it's me search for research for we search.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was exploring my mental well-being, especially my wife's training to become a nutritionist. She was doing a master's, and we came across this concept of living foods and the power of the gut, and that third intelligence center. And we were both at a time we just thought, crikey, we need to explore this. So we did. We went out, brewed everything at home, from kombucha. We made kimchi, kefir yogurts, and sourdough bread. And I just looked around. I couldn't find any of this thing. If you weren't making it at home, it was difficult to find. So we were the first in the country to go big with it, and we were ahead of the curve. We had to do a lot of education, but. The brand's called One Living, and we make kombuchas, we make CBD drinks, we make water kefirs, and we've also got these incredible health shots coming out at the end of the month. But the secret is, I guess, for me, is I've always been after big change, big impact, and I wanted to find the playmaker, the star player, if you like, and the living side of that, the bacteria, the part of the gut. It's massive. It brings everything together. You got your star player out there.
Yeah.
When they're on the pitch, everyone else just seems to raise their game. Everyone else just seems to come into communication with each other. The team starts playing as a whole, and you start finding this, like I said, this team spirit. Geez, how did we do that? And I think for me, certainly the bacteria and the in the kombucha that we authentically brew is it. That's the one that's making this big difference. The CBD side for me is this kind of. Is this team talk, this coming down, this bringing you into that space, and the health shots are like the team. That's the team we've picked. They've got so many ridiculously awesome ingredients in, but the idea is we attack it from both ends. So we're on a mission. The mission is well-being, deep well-being. It's the real thing, and it's not about what's the limit of well-being? There is no limit. What being well is. So we attack it on the product side, but we attack it with the messaging and the mental health side. In terms of the brand, constantly offering, sharing these, I guess, opportunities to open and share and come together as part of what the product is doing from the inside out. And we're trying to make that difference. That's what it's all about. When you say the Me Too, it's like, I'm here. When I play rugby, I wanted to do something. I wanted to try and make a big impact and revolutionize that as much as I could. And now I'm in this space. It's like, okay, well, let's go for it.
And if you're feeling good anyway, and you haven't sorted your microbiome out, if you do sort your microbiome out, all the advantages that you're working really hard for in the gym or as far as your mental health is concerned, it's times by 100 or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's ridiculous.
And the other thing that's quite cool about it is that the bacteria side of things that are in there, and the probiotics, they're so intelligent we can't even understand them. We can understand some, and I love that. That for me represents health and well-being. We think we get it, and every time we go, but there's so much more. And there's always going to be the case. The potential that we have as humans is worth seeking and going after.
Well, some of the testimonies on your website. And by the way, none of this is in my brief to Jonny about his One Living brand, but it's so important because you've got this sort of golden triangle for me. You've got the One Living brand, which is all about the microbiome and your research with you and your wife. What can we drink? How can we fire our microbiome up? Then you've got Jonny Wilkinson. .com, which is this amazing website, and then you've got the podcast I Am as well. I think that's a beautiful triangle, and they all feed into each other and off each other, don't they?
Yeah.
And we were on the beginning of the week, we were talking about milk and more, because you're into milk and more. Tomorrow the week, Jonny's health and wellbeing brand One Living is teamed up with Doorstep milk delivery business Milk and More to launch a new set of daily wellbeing routines designed to help good mornings become great days. Take us through your morning routine, come on, because everybody's obsessed, aren't they, with morning routines? We got a minute left, Jonny.
Okay, right. Listen, Milk and More, awesome guys, delivered to your doorstep, brilliant. I've had a great chance to work with these. They talk about, and they stock our products, as you said. They talk about good mornings delivered, and it's beautiful. But it also represents this idea: the morning is the time. It's like the start of your life.
It's the best
each day,
it's the best time
to grab hold of that energy, and decide who and how you're going to be, and find the momentum to carry that through. And so for me, just to name the 7, awareness first up. When you wake up, just pause before you reach for your phone, before you start doing all the things you've always done. Just pause, tune in to how your body feels, as you just did. Breathe. Beautiful. Breathing's the next one. Stretch, open up, regather your youth, your magnitude, your whole expansion. And then we've got imagination. Start to picture who you and how you want to be. Affirmations. Start to talk to yourself as your best teammate.
every day.
Every day,
In the mirror.
In the mirror, beautiful. And then the last 2 would be get outside, get in the daylight, remind yourself you're nature. You're not in nature, you're part of nature. Get your shoes off, get your bare feet in the grass. I saw you on the screen. I knew you had yours off. It's beautiful. Get them on the ground, and then the final one is take a moment. I love this, to move slowly. There's nothing changes your energy than saying, these are my thoughts, they're all over the place, I'm in survival mode. Walk so slowly and so relaxed that you surrender yourself to whatever that apparent threat is, if it's safe to do so, obviously, and see how your thoughts
The
change.
slower you go, the fuller your day.
Ah, beautiful.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
What about Jonny Wilkinson, everybody?
Well, your guy, Thich Nhat Hanh, that's what he would always do, wasn't he? He would every day, and he's the father of modern meditation, isn't he? And he would just go on a ludicrously slow walk. And I swim in the Serpentine on the way to work every morning in Hyde Park, and sometimes I walk back to my bike really slowly.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you start, but it changes you completely.
Yeah, and to, as you move slower, as we said, and you loosen off, you start to feel your walk. You experience your walk, and you ask yourself, well, what have I been doing for the rest of my life? What have I been experiencing? I've been experiencing my mind. I haven't lived yet. And this is the big point. There's no better time than here and now.
Look at that smile, man. Seriously. Whoa.
It's this environment you create for us in this room.
Can we hear it for Jonny Wilkinson, if you don't mind? Thank you very much indeed. Amazing. Check out One Living. All the drinks there. I'm going to go and order some now. He's offered me a discount, but no, I'm going to pay.